Hello from Olden Goldens and welcome back to our channel. Recently, we have received somber news about the passing of some extraordinary talents. Today's episode is dedicated to honoring their memory. We will also recap the stars we have recently lost. Before we begin, we kindly ask for your support. If this video or the legacies of these remarkable individuals have touched your life, please consider giving this video a thumbs up as a sign of respect and remembrance. Christina Sendera, the longtime partner of Clint Eastwood, has died. She was 61. The Oscar winner announced her death in a statement shared in an email newsletter from the local Carmel Pinecone newspaper on Thursday night, July 18th. Eastwood said of Sendera, whom he had been with romantically since 2014, "Christina was a lovely, caring woman, and I will miss her very much." Eastwood and Sendera, who were very private about their relationship, reportedly met when she was working as a hostess at his property, the Mission Ranch Hotel in Carmel by the Sea, California, on the Monterey Peninsula, where Eastwood has lived for decades. While Eastwood may be an A-list actor and filmmaker, Sendera maintained a more low-key profile. Aside from her relationship with Eastwood, not much is known about her, and she was not on social media. Eastwood also skews from the spotlight, and the couple opted for a quiet life together in Carmel by the Sea, a small coastal town in which Eastwood also formerly served as the mayor. Sendera did accompany the Gran Torino star to many events, especially pertaining to his films. At the 2015 Oscars, his movie American Sniper was nominated for 6 awards, including Best Picture. He brought Sendera as his date, marking the couple's first public appearance together. Before that, the pair were photographed grocery shopping together in June 2014, in photos obtained by the Daily Mail. In 2016, the couple appeared together at a screening of Eastwood's film Sully at the Directors Guild of America. In 2017, they went to the Cannes Film Festival together. Sendera also joined Eastwood and his entire family, including 3 of his kids, his granddaughter and Eastwood's first wife, Maggie Johnson, at the premiere of his 2018 film The Mule. Bob Newhart, an Emmy winner and 9-time nominee, who helped launch the recorded comedy craze with 2 smash stand-up albums before starring in the revered TV shows The Bob Newhart Show and Newhart, died today at his Los Angeles home. He was 94. His longtime publicist Jerry Digney said Newhart died after a series of short illnesses. Newhart broke out in 1960 with a pair of #1 comedy albums, despite never having done stand-up before. The Button-Down Mind of Bob Newhart spent 14 weeks atop the Billboard 200 and stayed on that chart for more than 2 years. The Button-Down Mind Strikes Back arrived about 10 months later, and also hit #1. The former won Grammys for Album of the Year, Comedy Album of the Year, and Best New Artist, and featured a slow-spoken, still-sided monologue with Newhart as Abe Lincoln. The Button-Down Mind Strikes Back won the 1961 Comedy Album Grammy, and both of his 1960 LPs are included in the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History. Together, they helped usher in the golden age of recorded comedy that saw massive sales for the likes of Bill Cosby, Alan Sherman, The First Family, and many others, and would last through the 1970s. Newhart began to tour the national comedy circuit for rapturous crowds. Newhart scored another Grammy nom nearly a half-century later for his 2006 spoken word album I Shouldn't Even Be Doing This. Born on September 5, 1929, in suburban Chicago, Newhart's first move to TV was with the NBC comedy variety series The Bob Newhart Show, spawned from his first album and featuring his ad-libbed phone call comedy that inspired similar famous bits by Lily Tomlin and Mike Nichols' Elaine May. It lasted just 1 season in 1961 to 1962, earning a Peabody Award. But he would return to the medium in a huge way a decade later. Sitcom The Bob Newhart Show debuted on CBS in September 1972. It did well right from the start, finishing in the year-end 3-network primetime top 20 in each of its first 3 seasons, ultimately running to 1978. Newhart starred as Bob Hartley, a successful psychologist in Chicago whose deadpan delivery drove the series. Suzanne Pleshette was his schoolteacher wife, but the other regular characters often stole their scenes. Among them were Carol, the brash receptionist Bob shared with a dentist in the same suite, and Bob's orthodontist friend Jerry. The cast also included Penny Marshall. Newhart scored an Emmy nom for writing during the show's first season. It ranked number 41 on the WGA's 2013 list of the 101 best written TV series of all time, and the series won for outstanding program achievement in the field of humor. The Bob Newhart Show earned renewed fame in its syndication afterlife, fueling the popular Hi Bob drinking game. The star would return to TV in 1982 with another CBS sitcom, Newhart. This time he played Dick Loudon, a how-to-book author who took over a long-closed colonial inn in Vermont. Mary Fran played his wife, but as with Newhart's 1970s show, his co-stars often stood out. Among them George, the inn's crusty caretaker whose family had been doing that job for 2 centuries. Other standouts were Larry, Daryl, and Daryl, who could challenge for the title of world's most useless handyman. The series finished its rookie season tied as the number 12 series in primetime, and would remain in the top 30 for several years. Newhart would score 3 consecutive Emmy noms for lead actor in a comedy from 1985 to 1987. It was nominated for 25 Emmys over its 8-season, 184-episode run, but it never won a single statuette. The Newhart series finale in May 1990 is widely considered one of TV's greatest. After 8 very well-watched seasons, the Dick Martin-directed episode The Last Newhart saw the Vermont town where the series was set in purchased by Japanese businessmen who wanted to build a luxury resort. The set was dark at the very end, and suddenly Newhart's Bob Hartley character from the 1970s sitcom wakes up in his Chicago apartment with Pleshette, his wife from that show, beside him. Announcing he had the weirdest dream, Newhart throws the whole Newhart show into a wonderful TV trope. Plechette's Emily tells him to go back to bed, admonishing, "No more Japanese food before you go to bed." 2 TV seasons later, in September 1992, Newhart returned to CBS in a new sitcom titled Simply Bob. This time, he played a temperamental, often bitter comic book writer, a far cry from the lovable and mild-mannered characters who had charmed viewers for 2 decades. The show didn't click and aired its final episode in late 1993. Newhart went on to guest on TV comedies including Murphy Brown and The Simpsons, and voiced a role in the 1990 tune feature The Rescuers Down Under. He returned to the CBS sitcom game again in 1997, starring opposite Judd Hirsch in George Leo. Newhart played a Martha's Vineyard bookstore owner whose quiet life is rattled by the arrival of Leo, a small-time Las Vegas hood whose estranged daughter was marrying George's son. It lasted only 1 low-rated season. Newhart had big screen roles in the 1997 Kevin Kline feature comedy In Out and the 2003 Reese Witherspoon sequel, but his best-known movie was Elf, also in 2003. He played Papa Elf, the adoptive dad of Will Ferrell's Buddy Hobbs, an oversized human whose elfin upbringing leads to myriad adventures when he finds out that indeed he is not an elf and that his father is in New York City. Newhart's elf ears and characteristic deadpan delivery made audiences cheer. Newhart continued his TV and film career through the 2000s, on the silver screen in 2 The Librarian sequels and Horrible Bosses. He also did arcs on the popular series ER and Desperate Housewives, and guested on TV's The Librarians, Hot in Cleveland, and other shows. But he might be most recognizable to younger audiences for his recurring role in CBS mega hit The Big Bang Theory. In Chuck Lorre's sitcom, Newhart played Arthur Jeffries, aka Professor Proton, the star of a former kids' science show, who was hired to entertain Sheldon Jim Parsons and Leonard Johnny Galecki. An instant fan favorite, Newhart showed up in 6 episodes spanning 5 seasons and won his only career Emmy in 2013. He also was nominated for Outstanding Guest Actor in a comedy series 2 other times, in 2014 and 2018. A longtime friend of Johnny Carson, Newhart substituted as host of The Tonight Show nearly 90 times. He was spotlighted in a 2005 American Masters special on PBS and Button Down Concert, a home video based on his classic routines, arrived the following year. He was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1999 and received the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor 3 years later. Bob Newhart is survived by 4 children: Jennifer, Courtney, Timothy, and Robert, and numerous grandchildren. His wife of 60 years, Virginia Ginny Newhart, died last year. Happy Traum, a mainstay of the Greenwich Village folk scene of the early 1960s who recorded with Bob Dylan, died on Wednesday in Manhattan. He was 86. His wife, Jane Traum, said he died of pancreatic cancer in a physical rehabilitation facility after undergoing surgery. He lived in Woodstock, New York. Traum and his brother, Artie, were revered musicians in the folk world. The brothers performed at the Newport Folk Festival in Rhode Island in 1969, toured the world, and released 5 albums. Artie Traum died of liver cancer in 2008. He was part of a 1963 session that featured Dylan, Seeger, Phil Ochs, and other folk stars that created the seminal folk album Broadside Ballads, Vol. 1. Among the tracks on that album was Traum's duet with Dylan, who used the pseudonym Blind Boy Grunt. On Dylan's anti-war song, Let Me Die in My Footsteps, he later joined the folk group The New World Singers, who cut the first recording of the Dylan classic Blowin' in the Wind, which had been given the band by the songwriter to perform in local venues. Dylan also gave Traum and the New World Singers another of his future classics, Don't Think Twice, It's All Right, which they released as a single. It was the first recorded version of the song, included on their debut album, released by Atlantic Records in 1963. Traum was also known for founding Homespun Music Instruction, which has produced instructional books and videos featuring tips from Donald Fagen of Steely Dan, Paul Butterfield, and John Sebastian. In addition to his wife, Traum is survived by daughters Mary and April Traum, his son Adam, and 4 grandchildren. Chung Pei Pei, who memorably starred in Ang Lee's Oscar-nominated film, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, died Thursday at 78 in the San Francisco Bay Area from a degenerative brain disease. Chung was born in Shanghai in 1946, moving to Hong Kong in 1962. There she began working with the iconic Shaw Brothers studio, which is widely acknowledged as popularizing kung fu movies. Her feature debut was drama film Lovers Rock, and using her training in ballet and dance, she soon became a major star in martial arts, action, and swordplay movies. The 1966 action film Come Drink With Me, directed by King Hu, was her breakout role. It was named as Hong Kong's contender for the Oscars, but not nominated. Chang moved to San Francisco in the 1970s, attending business school at the University of California, Irvine, while raising 4 children. The children went on to their own show business careers. Chang's biggest role came as the villain Jade Fox in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon in 2000. The film won 4 Academy Awards and became the first foreign-language film to gross more than $100 million in the United States. Her subsequent career included Naked Weapon and Hyde Park Entertainment's Capcom game adaptation, Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li. She also appeared in 2014's Lilting, and as the matchmaker in Disney's 2020 live-action remake of Mulan. Casting director and producer Mike Leader praised Cheng. Very talented actress, and a lovely lady, who raised 4 children, her son Harry, and daughters Jennifer, Eugenia, and Marcia. Had the pleasure of working with Pei Pei, Marcia Eugenia, over the years, and my thoughts are with them, and the rest of her family. Survivors include her 4 children, Eugenia, Jennifer, Harry, and Marcia, and her grandchildren. In lieu of flowers, Cheng requested that donations be made to the Brain Support Network, where her brain was donated.